Instead of doing photos of the year, I'm going to do something different for 2023. I've pretty much modified the way that we actually tell car culture stories. It's now about half video and half stills. So for me to just talk about photos of the year isn't really doing what we're trying to accomplish justice. So we're going to try something different and hopefully it works out. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to talk about the projects of the year. And I'm going to start with the first one from January 1st all the way to the one I'm actually at now. I literally flew out to New York just for one night, just to do our last shoot of the year before I actually head over to Asia to get ready for Tokyo Auto Salon. So here we go. We'll start off the year strong with Tokyo Auto Salon. The actual shooting portion of Tokyo Auto Salon pretty much started around the 10th of January. That's when we really kicked off our second season of Capturing Car Culture. We had a chance to shoot so many incredible things, including the Nissan Zama collection. We did the Underground Night Meet, which turned out to be pretty much my most successful video to date. We shot, of course, a lot at Daikoku, PA. I drove around in my R34 a lot. We did have a chance to shoot with Iding Power, Built by Legends, and Mines. It was my first time meeting the Mines guys. We had a chance to shoot with June from Hardcore, and of course, we shot the show itself. One story that I was really happy to be able to tell was the Japanese private car collection that included so many incredible race cars and probably the most significant JDM collection I've seen to date. What an absolute monster of a collection. I can't believe it. We did have a chance to shoot the Liberty Walk F40, which I actually drove later in the year, and we'll get to that. Headed back to the US, then we actually went to the Future Classics car show with Barrett Jackson in Arizona. That was a lot of fun. We did a quick YouTube video on that. Then I headed out to Southeast Asia on an incredible journey to explore car culture to its absolute limits. We did end up shooting 3 really good episodes. We shot the twin-charged Evo, and we shot 2 episodes explaining Indonesian car culture and what it's actually like. I then had a chance to go to Singapore, and I met up with my buddy Ben, and we shot 2 more Capturing Car Culture episodes, which is something that I've wanted to do for a while. I've actually wanted to go back to a lot of these places and recreate the same stories that I've done just on vlog, print, and still form, but not actually in video form. So going back is pretty much like redoing what I already knew was there and told in the most interesting way possible. I legitimately flew straight from Singapore back just to make it for the last day, main race day of King of the Hammers, which was absolutely insane. I was so exhausted, but we were able to capture our clients. We were able to chase the race, and that was a lot of fun. We had our supercharged Toyota Tundra and our supercharged Toyota FJ, both magnificent supercharged. We're already in February now, and then the next big shoot that we did was actually with Honda HPD. We did a really, really cool photo shoot in downtown Los Angeles with their crazy IndyCar CRV. That was absolutely so much fun. What an honor and what a great shot down. It was just too cool to be able to see it in downtown LA in these iconic streets. We did go to Chuckwalla Raceway with the Honda HPD guys the following Monday, which allowed us to get a bunch of track action. It was nice to actually see it get driven in anger. First shoot of March was the Nissan R35 GTR. Who knows, maybe final edition, maybe not. This was such an incredible shoot. We had the T-Spec and the Nismo R35 GTR. An absolute honor to be able to shoot these two for Nissan. The GTR as a car has inspired me so much, and to be able to work with Nissan in this capacity to essentially show the world what these look like in US spec was so much fun. The very next day, which was the first weekend of March, I ended up going to shoot the Pennzoil 400 in Las Vegas, which is one of the staple races that I shoot every single year at NASCAR for Pennzoil. It's a lot of fun, and I love that race every single year. This next week, I actually headed to Germany to shoot with my friend Jean-Pierre Kramer from JP Performance. I really wanted to continue the theme of shooting, capturing car culture out of the country, and JP is such a big ambassador. In fact, I think he is still the biggest European YouTuber through and through, and he's very, very inspiring. So loved shooting with him so much, and it came out to be an incredible episode. Next up, I went to Sebring for mid-March, which is always one of my favorites. The 12-hour race is absolutely brutal. There's just so many opportunities to get incredible imagery. This time I was following the Ferrari team for Shell, so I tried to get as many photos of the team as possible through its hardships, through all of the stuff that they had to deal with to actually survive the 12-hour race. We then kicked off the Formula Drift season with FD Long Beach. It's definitely one of my favorite races to shoot, and everyone asks me, what's the most picturesque Formula Drift round? It's without a doubt Long Beach. It's absolutely beautiful. This time was really special because I actually had a chance to use the Supra as a camera chase car for the first time on the streets of Long Beach. So I was able to get footage that was never before possible. I really have to thank the Formula Drift guys to trust me with this task, because there's definitely risks involved, but of course I drive with all of these drivers all the time. So it came out so good, and I can't wait to do it again. For mid-April, we went to Colombia. It was my first time in South America to shoot with the FJ company. We shot a Capturing Car Culture episode down there, and we just kind of wanted to check out his operation because it's something so unique and something that I've never even seen before. These bespoke Toyota FJs are built in Colombia for the rest of the world. And, just seeing the facility makes me understand why they're so expensive. The next shoot we actually did for Nissan, we don't shoot all sports cars. We shoot a lot of their economy cars and just their regular cars. So this time it was the Sentra. We've shot the Versa before. We've shot other models, but it's important to show these vehicles in the best light possible as well, because these could be somebody's first vehicle, or this could be somebody's commuter car. We really enjoyed shooting the Nissan Sentra, and I think it looked pretty good. I've always loved Nissan Sentras. I've had a B14 Sentra, and it was absolutely incredible. The next shoot we did was with Jay Leno. We shoot pretty much all their commercials for Walmart, AutoZone. Jay is doing so many things still right now, and one of the big things that he's doing, of course, is his product line. So we use his product line at our shop. We're so lucky to be able to work with Jay hand in hand when it comes to showcasing the product and showing that it's something that him and his team actually developed to keep his own cars clean. And that's why it works, and that's why we love shooting with Jay. The next shoot I did was on my own, and it was in San Francisco area for Luft 9. Luftgekühlt means so much to me because it's one of the last things that I pretty much won't let go as a photographer. As you can imagine, we shoot so many things now, it's basically impossible for me to be able to keep control from the initial concept, me actually shooting, to post-processing, to production, to publishing. We have so many hands in all the things that we do now, but Luft is still my baby. And I'm able to go there myself, take the pictures myself, edit them, publish them from beginning to end. And Luft trusts me with this task because I'm one of the many official photographers, and I've been shooting Luft since Luft 2. And Pat Long and the team are incredible, and they just kind of trust my vision to show what this show looks like through my eyes. It's something I look forward to every year, and I just love it so much, and I can't wait for Luft 10. Now we're into May, and we kicked off May with an absolutely incredible, earth-shattering event. Type S Auto helps me put on these really fun car meets all over the US, and this time we did it in Atlanta at Z1 Motorsports. We were able to shoot a bunch of episodes beforehand, but I cannot believe how many people came out to this meet. I mean, we packed that parking lot, and they said they're able to fit at least 500 cars there, and we packed it up so much that they had to park across the street and they couldn't even get in. It was so much fun, and it was all makes and models. That weekend, we did have a chance to shoot Formula Drift Atlanta, which again is one of my favorite rounds because it's just so pretty looking out there. And it's such a historic track, and it's a track that I actually want to drive one day. I then headed out to Hawaii, Big Island, I've never actually been, to shoot with Toyota for the launch of the Toyota Tacoma, but we actually stayed a bunch of extra days to shoot with the local car culture there. With a population of about 100,000 people, it blew me away how many people actually modify their cars. And the fact that they actually have an active drag strip there is so cool. And they actually have, I think, 2 dynos on the island, which allow them to keep those cars in tip-top shape. I was very proud to be able to launch the Nismo Z because we launched the new Z pretty much from the prototype all the way to the final colors. It was only fitting for us to launch the Nismo, but this time we actually put it in a studio, and I worked with my really good friend V to get these images together for Nissan, and I was very proud of them. FD Orlando is around that I love going to also because I get to hang out with my buddy Drew Leslie and of course Adam LZ. We love shooting with Adam as much as we can anytime, and that's a really good time to catch up with our Florida buddies. I've shot in Australia before, but only one time for Formula Drift when they were still going there. This time, my friend Andrew Hawkins invited me out to shoot GTR Fest. It was great. I loaded up on so much GTR content. In fact, we ended up with our most successful video of the year, featuring this crazy, I don't even know, 2,000 horsepower R34 GTR that was full-on sequential. It's just such a great place to shoot cars and car culture. They're just so enthusiastic. We did end up picking up one Haggerty episode, which was Frank in his crazy Datsun Ute. That is just so good looking and very Australian. It was such an honor to meet him and see his build. June was insane for us because Pikes Peak and Formula Drift New Jersey was the same time. So for the first time, we actually had to split our team to shoot a FD event and Pikes Peak. It was absolutely difficult. It was something I didn't want to do, but unfortunately we have to do it this coming year in 2024 again because it's the same weekend again. I decided to go to Pikes Peak because it is, again, my baby, and it's such an honor to be able to be the official photographer for both Formula Drift and Pikes Peak. But Pikes Peak is one time a year, and I just can't let somebody else shoot it as the official photographer. I just can't let that go. It is so important to me, and I do bring a really good team with me for photo and video. We all help each other to achieve this goal of capturing the race for future generations. I then went back to Japan to shoot a couple more Capturing Car Culture episodes, but this time I went to Osaka. I did want to drive my car there a little bit more because, of course, this coming year I'm going to import it to the US. So I figured it might as well be a good time to drive it in the summertime because I don't know what that's like. It was a lot of fun. I did have a chance to visit Liberty Walk, and their facilities blew me away. And it ended up being our season finale for Capturing Car Culture on the Haggerty YouTube channel. I also visited Garage Yoshida, which is probably one of the best Skyline restoration shops in the world. And Mr. Yoshida agreed to restore my car, which is great because he's going to be able to do it before I actually import it to the US. I then headed straight back to Formula Drift St. Louis. I'll be honest, it's not my favorite round. It's a little rough. The track is rough. It's so hot in the middle of summer, but the fans are amazing. The fans come out in full force, and of course, it's great to see my Formula Drift family and all the drivers and all the teams and everyone. We then headed to Europe to shoot the LZ Invitational in Ireland. Again, it's always a great time to shoot any of LZ's things, including his events. His invitationals, I call it the YouTube Olympics because it's all the who's who in the YouTube space, especially when it comes to drifting things. So James Dean debuted his 4-rotor, and I was so lucky to be able to meet Jake with his E92. He let me drive it, and I used it to do a bunch of chase car stuff, and it was so much fun to chase people in a right-hand drive car, which I've never done, but I've been lucky to have a lot of right-hand drive practice on track, so I felt very comfortable after a couple laps. We also shot with Dave from Drift Games, his incredible facility for Haggerty, and we did have a chance to see the best rally car dealership in the world, which was so cool, and that episode did really well on the Haggerty YouTube channel. We're coming on the end of July, and we headed to Utah with our friends from Toyota to check out the new Land Cruiser reveal. That was a lot of fun. I checked out the new Land Cruiser Museum, which I've never had a chance to see. They actually moved locations. We shot their old location, and it was amazing, but their new location is even better. For the first time ever, I directed a full-on car commercial. This was for the launch of the Nismo Z, and it was the first time anybody in the world, anywhere, saw this car. It wasn't a picture. It wasn't a full-on like stills campaign. It was a 30-second spot, and it was a lot of drifting, a lot of tire smoke, and it was Chris Forsberg behind the wheel, and it was something that I was very, very proud of. We did it from beginning to end, everything. We came up with a concept, we came up with a game plan, we got the track, got all the equipment, did everything. And in the end, it came out so good. Very, very proud of it. It was a very big shoot for us, and it's something that I want to do more and more. We started off August strong with a shoot at Big Willow with Chris Forsberg again, with the Z, and our friend Amelia Hartford, and we did a bunch of stuff kind of surrounding Gran Turismo's launch, so that was a lot of fun. This year we shot for so many manufacturers, and being able to shoot with Automobilia Pininfarina was a really, really big deal for us. It was their new electric hypercar, and that thing is out of control. So the car looked absolutely incredible, and I was able to shoot it in one of my favorite cities. We did it on Pacific Coast Highway in Malibu. We did it in the canyons. We did it at this beautiful house that the folks rented, and I think it came out really good. I'm very proud of those photos. We then headed up to Seattle for Formula Drift, and FD actually continued its trend of selling out and having record-breaking events every single time, and this was no exception. It was just so many people, and of course, as always, the Seattle crowd comes out with the coolest cars, and we ended up shooting so many features. Grid Life is such a staple event for us every single year, and Lime Rock has become one of those events that you just can't miss. Toyota let me borrow another Supra this time because I couldn't ship my car out, and we mounted the cameras on it, and I did chase cam, and it was just so much fun. I did Tesla race. It's just the best event. It's such a historic track. It's beautiful. I love it so much. We love being able to shoot so many car features, and we love seeing all of our friends drive, and it's just the greatest event, and I can't wait to go again next year. So if you guys are on the East Coast, if you're in New York or in that surrounding area, if you could do a road trip to Lime Rock for Grid Life. You won't be disappointed. It is one of the most fun events of the year for us. World Time Attack Australia. Oh my goodness. What a great event. I think it's going to become a staple event for me because how significant it is and how important it is in car culture, especially for Australia. It is the largest gathering for any Time Attack event. And I guess that's why it's called World Time Attack. We did end up shooting a lot, and I shot a bunch with Keiichi Tsuchiya, and it was just such a good time. Can't wait to go back. Lewis and I went back to Japan just for a couple days, straight from World Time Attack Australia to shoot at the Toyota Tahara plant. And our goal was to follow the first ever Lexus GX550 on the assembly line from essentially a couple pieces of metal to a car that's driving away. It took 2 days, and it was such a fun project. And it really opened our eyes to what it's like to manufacture a car from beginning to end. I just didn't understand that it was like this. I mean, it makes sense how Toyota is able to make money building cars because they're so good and efficient at it. And they pump out a new car every single minute. It is just so insane. And it really changed my perspective on cars and car culture forever. And I cannot wait to go to another factory. Formula Drift Utah, such a great event. What a beautiful venue. I cannot believe a venue like that exists. The mountain backdrop, the pristine track, such a fun place to drive. I had a chance to drive last year with Toyota for the GR Corolla launch. It just looks like an absolute blast to drift. One day, maybe I'll drift it, but it just looks super cool. During the Formula Drift weekend, I actually split off from everyone else with a couple other guys to shoot a Lexus campaign in Ouray, Colorado, which was so cool. So we just ended up taking our Tundra out there, and we had a chance to shoot in these places that I just didn't think could exist. And it just could not look more different from the next place, which was just so cool. And it just really goes to show, no matter how much you explore, you're never going to be able to see all the cool places. But I was just very happy to be able to shoot the GX550 in all these different scenarios. It's just such a beautiful looking vehicle. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get one. We close out September with Grid Life Willow Springs, which is our local Grid Life event. It is so good to see everyone's faces locally, and it's also cool because we get to bring all of our cars out. So I brought my GR86 to do Time Attack. I brought out my Toyota Supra to do Chase Cam, and man, what a fun time. It was just such a good event, and it's something, again, that I look forward to. Toyota then reached out to us to help them to cover Supras in Vegas, which is the largest gathering of Supras in the US. And it is in Vegas at Spring Mountain Motor Speedway, and also they hold a bunch of different events all over Vegas. It's really refreshing to be able to work with a manufacturer, the biggest manufacturer in the world, like Toyota, and do these car culture events. And they actually care so much about it. And if you go look back on Toyota USA's Instagram, they actually posted a bunch of stuff that we shot at Supras in Vegas on their main feed. That is insane. I just can't believe that. That same weekend, I left Supras in Vegas early to go to JCCS, which is the Japanese Classic Car Show. It is really a big show for me. I didn't get to shoot that much, but when JCCS comes around, it means that my Wild Cards family, my car club that I'm a part of, they all come in from all over the world to gather. And they actually came by my house to check out my new shop and the expansion, and we were able to park all of their top-end amazing JDM builds in the shop, and we did a full-on shoot and a little party, and it was just so much fun to catch up with everybody. Every year around this time, we hold a night lights event. So this year, we decided to keep doing it at Fujiwara Tofu Cafe, and Type S came out in full force, supported us. We got security because it was so crazy last year. So many cars came. Basically, the parking lot filled up 2 hours before the meet was supposed to start. And I feel really bad because so many people drove from so far away and they couldn't even get a spot and they couldn't come in. They had to leave. That's the thing, you know, it's just something that's grown so much. My Night Lights event just brings out so many amazing cars, and I can't even see all of them. There's just too many amazing cars. So I was very happy that this one was very successful. I can't even estimate how many people came. If I had a best guess, 1,500 people, maybe 2,000 people came. Just from the drone shots that we have, it just looked insane. It was so bad that it backed up the 10 freeway because cars couldn't exit. It was too many cars. But it was just such an amazing event. FD Irwindale is my home track, and we live only just a couple minutes away from it. So it is so nice to be able to sleep in my own bed for once when we're actually shooting an event. Formula Drift Irwindale is always such a fun one, and I didn't really shoot too many YouTube videos surrounding Formula Drift this year, but I made sure to do one for FD Irwindale. So if you guys want to see me shooting the entire event, pretty much from beginning to end, we have a YouTube video for that. The very next weekend after Formula Drift Irwindale, we all went to a very, very historic event. We went to Grid Life Laguna Seca, and oh my God, what a great track. I've never driven that track, so I actually brought up my GR86 and I pushed so hard to try to get a good time in that car, and it was so much fun, and I can't wait to go back. Grid Life is doing these things that are so groundbreaking. They're allowing us to have access to these historic tracks that we've always dreamed of driving, but the price of entry or the hoops that you have to go through to actually drive, they actually take care of. So they had one of the few weekends where there was no sound restriction. And it was also the first time ever that they had full course drifting. And it was so many amazing drivers, so many amazing cars drifting down the corkscrew. It was so much fun. It was a lot of pinch me, I must be dreaming moments when I was going full tilt down the corkscrew, chasing these drift cars in my Supra. And then immediately after, I would jump in my GR86 and just shred that thing, just push it so hard to try to get time out of it. Right after that, we did a shoot for Gran Turismo. Polyphony Digital, they actually reached out and they wanted us to help launch their Spec 2 update for Gran Turismo 7, which is something that I play almost every day when I'm home. I love that game so much. I only play in VR though, because it's such an immersive experience and it's just so much fun. The way I put it is when I'm driving a convertible in the game, I actually feel the heat on my arms when the sun hits me. It is such a crazy mind trick that it does to you when you're actually driving in VR. It is so detailed, so realistic, and I have a lot of fun driving. End of October, of course, means that we're getting ready for SEMA time. And we did another shoot for Nissan, which is their Safari Z. What a cool vehicle and what a cool shoot. We had such a good time in the desert getting all the assets that Nissan needed for the launch of this vehicle. SEMA show was insane for us. We did have my GR86 in the anti-gravity booth, which wasn't crazy because it wasn't a new build, but we had so many shoots. We did one for Final Speed. We shot a bunch of stuff with Jay Leno and gang, and there's just so many meetings to do and so many interesting cars to feature. We ended up featuring like a record amount of cars at SEMA, and the content, as you guys can probably tell, is lasting pretty much till now. November means kind of winding down the race season, winding down the season, and it also means the Baja 1000, which is one of the biggest events for us. This time it was crazy because it was run backwards for the first time in its 50-year history. It actually started in La Paz and came all the way up the peninsula to Ensenada, which means we had to split up to 3 different teams. I went down to shoot the start, and I got in a plane and I flew all the way to Tijuana, and I went to Ensenada and I shot the finish, which is so crazy. Lewis and his team took the Tundra and chased in the middle, and our new guy Peyton actually was embedded with the team and rode all the way from La Paz all the way to Ensenada. It was such a big team effort, and I'm just so glad to be able to work with Ford in this capacity. We love shooting with all the manufacturers. Ford is a good one because they love racing and they really keep us on our toes when it comes to shooting their race stuff. I did a fun shoot with my really good friend Steph Papadakis. We went to the Mojave Trail with the off-road vehicles, and we decided instead of doing it in 2, 3, or 4 days, we decided to do it in 1 day, which unfortunately means we skipped a lot of the fun sightseeing places, but we just wanted to hit the trail. We just wanted to see if it was possible, and we did it, and it was a lot of fun. I got a head start on season 3 of Capturing Car Culture because in Asia right now is the dry season, and come summertime, it's like monsoons and it's super hot and it's humid and it's really wet and it's raining all the time, and it's basically impossible to shoot car culture stuff. So for the end of November, I actually went to Hong Kong. I've been before. Almost 10 years ago I went and I shot there. I didn't really have a chance to do the car culture justice. This time I think I really showcased the car culture, so stay tuned for season 3 of Capturing Car Culture. We shot so many episodes. To continue shooting in Southeast Asia, I actually went to Thailand because again, it is the dry season, but it was still really hot. I could not believe how hot it was. It was like 100% humidity, 92 degrees. It was absolutely insane. I was just dying the whole time. But I went there to shoot, again, as much car culture as possible. I'm sure if you guys follow me on social, you guys saw a lot of the insane stuff that I was able to post. I just didn't understand that it was like this. I've been before with Formula Drift about 10 years ago, and I knew drifting culture was big. I didn't understand the tuning culture was this big, specifically JDM. Even though importing used cars now is completely done. You're not allowed to import used cars anymore, ever. So despite that, they're able to enjoy the cars that are already in the country. It is easy for me to forget how big the country actually is. It's a population of over 70 million people. So they love Japanese cars, especially with the proximity to Japan. It allows them to enjoy all these cars. That leads to the shoot I'm on now, which is for 7-Eleven's Car of the Year. It's so crazy to me that I'm able to work with 7-Eleven in this capacity. As you guys know, they've completely embraced cars and car culture. They've really taken it upon themselves to understand why people like 7-Eleven in the car culture community. It's actually very simple. So it's a trend that started in Japan, as you guys probably know. There's nowhere to park in Japan, but guess what? 7-Eleven has amazing parking lots, and you can park your beautiful, cool JDM car, whatever it is, Supra, Skyline, NSX, get photos of it lit really well by the storefront and the 7-Eleven signage, and it looks super cool. It looks very 90s, 80s. It looks very vintage and very Japanese. Also, for those of you guys who don't know, 7-Eleven is owned by a Japanese holdings company. That's why it's called 7 and Holdings in Japan. So what's happened is this car culture has bled over to the US. What people do when they have a nice car and they need to go cruising, meet up with friends, stop for a coffee break, stop for a Slurpee, just enjoying cars, you have to go to 7-Eleven. I didn't mention all the shoots that we did. We do a lot of like small 1-day shoots, half-day shoots, a lot of things for our YouTube channel, but at least I wanted to let you guys know and fill you guys in on the big things that we shot in 2023, because I'm definitely looking forward to pushing very, very hard in 2024. There's just so much to shoot, including our new season of Capturing Car Culture, and of course, all the stuff that we do for our own YouTube channel and all the commercial photography, everything. I just want to keep telling the story of car culture for many, many generations to come in this generation. I really wanted to thank our major sponsors. Pennzoil is such a big part of what we do. They support all of our project cars. They support us traveling all over the world to all these incredible places to tell the stories of these car enthusiasts. They have a campaign right now called Long May We Drive, and it basically is just that. They just want us to drive our cars and enjoy them. No show queens, please. There is a place for show queens, but I'm not really big on that. I love driving cars. I love seeing them driven in anger. I love going to the racetrack and in the canyon. So love Pennzoil and love what they do. Our other sponsor is Type S. They love car culture, and what they love is being able to enjoy cars in a different way, even if it's not moving. Underglow, all this little accessories, knickknacks that they have, and also the stuff that's necessary, right? Like dash cams, jump packs, all the things they make, so incredible. Love working with them. They just are so passionate about cars and car culture. What's not to like about Underglow? It has come back in such a big way, and Type S has single-handedly brought it back. You walk into any AutoZone and a lot of other major parts suppliers, and you can get yourself an Underglow kit, the same one that the Formula Drift guys run. I have gotten it down to a science. I can install an Underglow kit in about 3 hours now on my cars, because every single one of my cars has Underglow. Because why not? It's such a cool way to display your car at night or indoors. And it doesn't have to be moving. It still looks cool. So thanks to Type S and thanks to Pennzoil for their support. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to support us directly, go to LarryChenPrints.com. I print and sign every single one of these. This is the perfect gift, or it's the perfect piece of art for your wall.